The Trump administration is talking about school safety today as the president heads to Texas to meet with those impacted by a recent school shooting. Meetings between the Secretary of State and a key North Korean delegation are underway as each side works to save next month's summit. And a Rock County mom is turning her grief into action. She's opening up to News 3 about her daughter's suicide and the role bullying played.
This is News 3 at noon.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Mark Kane. Thanks for tuning in to News 3 on this Thursday afternoon. We'll get to those stories in just a bit. But first, we head to the Weather Center where meteorologist Chris Reese has a look at your first alert forecast. The heat and humidity return.
Oh, yeah, Mark. We've kept that heat and humidity around for the past week or so. And then, of course, it felt much better yesterday with the rain. But now it has been warm once again as we continue to track the heat under that sunshine out there. Here's a live look at the Edgewater Sky Camera, which is a bug camera this afternoon with that little fella right there. We'll continue to track temperatures warming on up. We're now at 80 degrees. The dew point is at 64, and that's a large part of why it continues to feel warm out there as it has pretty much for the past week or so. 80 degrees the temperature right now. Janesville coming in at 84. That's the warmer spot. Milwaukee at 83. Pretty much everyone in the upper 70s to low 80s across southern Wisconsin. Here's the dew points in the low to mid 60s for a lot of folks. Platteville feels a little bit more miserable with the dew point coming in at 70 right now. And as you get these dew points to continue to creep into the 60s, it'll feel more and more humid as you're out there. But there is sunshine, no rain or storms today as opposed to yesterday at this time. The only rain really in the state of Wisconsin is far in the northeastern corner towards the UP of Michigan there. But for the rest of us, we'll keep the sunshine around. The dew points will continue to be the main story as they pretty much hang tight through the 60s for the next several hours. So do be prepared to feel the air as you're outside. That's going to cause things to feel a whole lot warmer as well, feeling like close to 90 degrees towards 3 o'clock. But as we go through the rest of your afternoon, do expect temperatures to fall through the 80s towards 60 by the time we're waking up tomorrow. Mark, Friday is going to feel a whole lot better than things have felt lately.
All right, and we want to welcome you to the News 3 family. You come up from Kentucky, so this should feel right at home, this weather.
Yeah, it is totally different, but I'm ready for it. And the humidity, it's okay, yeah, but I'm ready to get rid of it.
Right. Welcome, and we'll check back in a few minutes. Top in our news today, the president is meeting with family members of the victims of the deadly Santa Fe High School shooting today. At the same time, the president's Commission on School Safety will visit an elementary school in Maryland. Lange reports from the White House.
President Trump left Washington Thursday for Texas, where he'll meet privately with the families of victims of the Santa Fe High School shooting to offer his condolences. 10 people were killed in the attack earlier this month. It is the 27th shooting at a school since Mr. Trump took office. At Wednesday's White House briefing, Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders got emotional when a 13-year-old student journalist representing Time for Kids asked Sanders what the administration is doing to improve school safety.
One thing that affects mine and other students' mental health is to worry about the fact that we or our friends could get shot at school. Specifically, can you tell me what the administration has done and will do to prevent these senseless tragedies?
I think that as a kid and certainly as a parent, there is nothing that could be more terrifying for a kid to go to school and not feel safe. So I'm sorry that you feel that way.
The president's Commission on School Safety also meets today. This is its third meeting since it was created in the wake of the Parkland shooting. After Parkland, the president said he would look into stricter background checks, raising the minimum age for buying assault weapons and possibly arming teachers, but no action has been taken. Committee Chair, Education Secretary Betsy DeVos, says the commission wouldn't issue its final recommendations until the end of the year. Mola Lengi, CBS News, the White House.
President Trump did sign a moratorium directing Attorney General Jeff Sessions to introduce regulations to ban so-called bump stocks, which were used in the Las Vegas massacre last October. The United States and North Korea are trying to save a summit next month between the president and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. High-level talks continue in New York today between Secretary of State Mike Pompeo and some of North Korean president's closest advisors. The two also spent yesterday together. There are also more work being done in North Korea and Singapore, where delegations are working out the logistics of the summit.
It's all a process. We'll see. And hopefully we'll have a meeting on the 12th that's going along very well. But I want it to be meaningful. It doesn't mean it gets all done at one meeting. Maybe you have to have a second or a third.
President Trump says the Korean delegation will head to Washington, D.C. after leaving New York. The United States is imposing steep tariffs on steel and aluminum from 3 of America's biggest trading partners, Mexico, Canada, and the European Union. In March, the president announced new worldwide trade penalties would be going into effect. The EU, Mexico, and Canada were granted 2-month exemptions while negotiators talked, but those negotiations ended last Friday. Now the Commerce Secretary says a 25% tariff on imported steel and a 10% tariff on imported aluminum will be imposed. They go into effect at midnight. Mexico and the EU have already announced plans to retaliate with their own tariffs against U.S.-made products. The 2 Republicans hoping to challenge Democratic Senator Tammy Baldwin this fall will take part in a forum in Dane County tonight. State Senator Leah Volkmir and businessman Kevin Nicholson will take their respective cases to the GOP women of Dane County tonight on why they deserve their support. Volkmir won the endorsement of delegates at this month's state GOP convention, but Nicholson says that he'll keep fighting for the nomination up until the August 14th primary. Tonight's forum starts at 6:30. It's at the Sheraton Hotel in Madison. It's free and open to the public. The number of people who have died from an opioid overdose in Dane County has more than doubled over the past decade. City leaders and local nonprofits are coming together to address the growing epidemic at a town hall meeting at the Madison Public Library today. The meeting runs from 4 until 8. It's free and open to the public. Last year, President Trump declared the opioid epidemic a national public health emergency, and Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker signed 11 bills into law addressing the crisis locally. A Janesville mother is advocating against bullying in hopes of saving others. She says it played a role in her daughter's suicide this past weekend. Rebecca Coughlin says her daughter Elizabeth was bullied after her father died, and that played a role in her taking her own life last weekend. Rebecca called her daughter Lizzie and says she was goofy, artistic, and loving. She said the harassment the 12-year-old got at school was so bad she couldn't think of any other option other than taking her own life.
The note she left said, "I love you, Mom. I just want you to be happy. And the only way that I can be happy is to make sure that this doesn't happen to anybody else."
Rebecca says she talked to Lizzie's teachers and the principal at Franklin Middle School about the bullying, but they didn't do enough to stop it. A spokesman for the Janesville School District says that he cannot comment on specific cases, but in a released statement, he wrote the district has a long-established bullying prevention policy, and our staff work hard to model respectful behavior and ensure that students treat each other politely and in a caring manner. We want to remind you that if you need help talking to your kids about bullying, suicide, or any other mental health topic, there's advice and resources on our Time for Kids Time to Talk page. Just visit channel3000.com/timeforkids. There's more to come on News 3 at noon. Up next, we'll find out what Howard's working on in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
You've probably had this in a diner or maybe at home and you didn't know what else to make. Wondering what it is? Stick around. We'll show you. Every once in a while, we choose a recipe that seems so simple. You might think, who needs a recipe for that? Today's recipe might sound like one of those, but once you taste it, you'll understand why it's so special. First of all, when it comes to buying tuna, I don't believe that all tuna is equal. Maybe I'm a tuna snob or it's just the way I grew up, but for me, tuna should be white, solid, and packed in water. And then it needs to be drained really well. You can do that by pressing the lid into the can, or you can pick up one of these tuna presses, which makes this a breeze. After it's flaked, we add some mayo. And then to make this the ultimate tuna melt, some Italian dressing and sweet relish. After it's mixed, we place a few slices of tomato on some rye bread, top it with the tuna, and layer on some cheddar cheese. When this gets baked long enough for the cheese to melt and the bread to get all toasty, it's done. And since we leave this topless, it's best to eat this with a fork and knife. The recipe for what we call the ultimate tuna melt is on our website and would be perfect to serve with a bowl of soup and some chips. I'm Howard of the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found a basic yet tasty way for you to say, ooh, it's so good.
All right, Howard, thank you. Coming up, today's top consumer stories, along with your stock and egg numbers, and a sunny day for us in southern Wisconsin as the heat and humidity returns. Chris joins us after the break with your first alert forecast. Well, Sears is shuttering more stores and summer sandals that can double as a wallet. Diane King Hall has more in today's Money Watch report.
Sears plans to close dozens of additional stores this year. The struggling retailer says it will shut down 72 more locations in 2018 and will begin closing sales soon. The decision comes after the company reported a $424 million quarterly loss. Tech workers are facing serious burnout. According to a survey by the workplace app Blind, more than half of respondents say they are burned out with their jobs. The tech companies with the most stressed workers include Credit Karma, Twitch, Nvidia, and Expedia. Snapchat and Lyft were also in the top 10. On the flip side, employees at Netflix, PayPal, Twitter, and Facebook reported the least burnout. Americans boosted their spending last month. The Commerce Department says personal spending rose 0.6%. Incomes also increased, but households saved less, with the national savings rate falling below 3%. And fanny packs are making a comeback, sort of. Nike is set to release a new collection of slides featuring mini zipper pouches on top. The fanny pack collection comes in 3 different summer color combinations, including lime green and blue and pink and black. The sandals are expected to hit shelves soon. Details on pricing have not yet been released. And that's your CBS Money Watch report. For more, head to cbsmoneywatch.com. At the New York Stock Exchange, I'm Diane King Hall.
Diane, thank you. The Dow Industrial is down 204 points at the noon hour. The NASDAQ up 3. Let's check in now with Q106 Farm Director Pam Yankee. Those tariffs not sitting well on Wall Street.
No, my phone's been just ringing off the hook since that announcement came through. Mark, soybeans in Wisconsin, probably one of the biggest crops that are very anxious about what this could mean for them. But all of Wisconsin agriculture is wringing their hands as we kind of go forward. The markets in Chicago not reacting as negatively as I really expected. I thought the floor would fall out on soybeans, but so far it doesn't seem to be happening that way. Hey, I want a quick reminder to our dairy farmers. Today is the 31st of May. That means you've got barely 24 hours to take action. If you haven't already signed up for the Margin Protection Program in its new form, talked to Sandy Chalmers from the Farm Service Agency head office yesterday, and she said so far they have had 4,800 conversations with dairy farmers across the state. 3,900 dairy farms are already signed up. 300 of those have never tried the program before but found the revision is friendly to their operation. Here's the other update. Sandy Chalmers told me that they got word late last week from Washington, D.C. that they're going to send the money to farmers earlier as opposed to later. We thought that the payments wouldn't roll in until this fall, but instead checks are going to start being cut next week. Depending on your enrollment in the program, that may be some very welcome news for Wisconsin dairy farmers. If you haven't made your appointment yet with your local Farm Service Agency office, you have to make sure that you call them or get in contact with them today or before the close of business on Friday. Sandy says she realizes if they get overwhelmed by dairy farms that are trying to get involved, they may have to get a waiting list, but you don't get on the waiting list unless you call and get them to put you there before close of business tomorrow. Barrel cheese today is down 1 1/4 at 154 1/2. 40-pound block cheese unchanged. AA butter 3.5 cents lower, $2.39 a pound. And like I said, I did think that the floor was going to fall out on soybeans, but so far it's holding together. Let's just wait and make sure that there's no more social media tweets coming out before the closing bell.
Yeah, just ring that bell. Let's get it over with.
Yeah, really.
All right, Pam, we'll see you later. Chris is here. Chris is here now with our weather, and it's so humid. All that moisture in the ground is just coming up, I guess. I don't know.
That's right. We've had a lot of rain lately. In fact, some of the more historic rains for the month of May have certainly come through portions of Wisconsin over the past several weeks. In fact, 146%. That is how much rainfall we have received of normal for pretty much the entire year so far. We're continuing to watch the rainfall come down in coming days, but for the month of May as a whole, we've actually received more days of rain than days without rain. The latest came yesterday with 1.09 inches of rain, which was enough to bump us up to the second wettest May on record with 9.78 inches of rain there. For second place, we ended with a nice trophy. Here's a shot that came in from a viewer there over Lake Mendota. Beautiful clouds yesterday as the rains began to move on out. No cloud cover out there right now. We're dealing with clear skies over south central Wisconsin right now. The only rainfall far off to the north. Here's Edgewater Sky Cam showing the beautiful conditions out there. More bugs crawling across the screen. You'll see more of that throughout this time of the year. 80 degrees right now, dew points at 64, so yes, it is humid as you are stepping outside. Here's the rest of the area. 84 for Janesville. Platteville coming in at 80. You work your way to the north and west. That's where we see temperatures just a little bit cooler in the upper 70s right now. But then you factor in the humidity. Here's what it feels like. 82 for us. Let's feel bad for our friends in Janesville. It's hot there, already feeling like 87. We've got more of the afternoon to go for our friends down in the south, but we'll continue to watch it feel like 89 as we get you towards 3 o'clock later on tonight. Then eventually we'll start to see our temperatures cool back down. Check out what happens as we go towards tomorrow. At lunchtime, feeling like 66. The peak heating of the day for tomorrow feeling like 72. Take a deep breath. We finally have some cooler air coming in here. A slight chance of some scattered showers later on this afternoon. It's nothing really to worry about. Watch what happens as we come in through tomorrow morning. You'll notice the clouds working in from the north and east. Those will sweep on through here. The sun comes out, and then temperatures top out in the mid 70s for your Saturday or Friday. So things are certainly going to feel a whole lot better as we get you towards tomorrow. Let's go ahead and zoom out and show you guys what's actually coming through. We do have a couple of cold fronts that are going to work their way on through. That's going to bring us the much cooler air over portions of southern Wisconsin. And then, of course, we do have another rain chance coming in as we get you towards next weekend. So we do have to keep a very close eye on that. 86 degrees this afternoon. As we go into tonight, we'll cool back down to about 60 degrees. And then over the next 7 days, we'll watch temperatures begin to level out right in the upper 70s to about 80 degrees for tomorrow. And then we expand things out just a little bit for the next 10 days. And of course, we will see more in the way of some rain chances towards the middle and end of next week. But the good news is no 90s are in that forecast.
Little relief coming.
Yes, some relief coming in.
We need it. Thank you, Chris.
My pleasure.
We'll meet our pet of the week right after this. Marissa DeGroot from the Dane County Humane Society is here with our pet of the week. Who is this pretty lady here?
This beauty is Miss Dusty.
Miss Dusty, what's her story?
So Dusty came to us. She was actually found stray in the town of Oregon, and probably about a month or two ago. And she's looking for a particular family because she is an adult, but kind of on that younger end.
Mm-hmm. Did she get along with other cats or dogs?
I think as long as she gets a nice little introduction, she'd do pretty well. But since she's pretty playful, she wants to get out and explore. So kind of an active kitty, but she does prefer her humans to be a little more on the calm side. So
who doesn't?
Yeah, so she's looking for a house that if you do have kids there, maybe they're a little bit older, they know how to give Dusty her space if she does need it.
I didn't notice this little white patch on her neck.
Oh, she's absolutely gorgeous, and she is actually over at our Adoption Center West, along with a lot of other great cats and a lot of critters right now, too.
That pretty face. And the West location might be a good idea after Monday for a visit.
For sure. So starting this Monday, we're going to be having some construction happening at our main shelter. If you've been on that driveway, you certainly know how bumpy it is.
Big, long, bumpy driveway.
And so that's starting on Monday. We're still going to be open during normal hours, but we'll have an alternate route. So you can learn all of that at giveshelter.org, see that map, and also see a bunch of information about Dusty and all of our other animals.
Or go to the West Side location. There it is. There's the map now.
Yep, and it's going to be a little bit of that route is going to be off-road, so just a heads up, make sure to drive nice and slow and be
grass.
safe.
It's going to be
Yep.
okay. All right, last week.
Oh my gosh, last week we had the energetic Buttons.
Oh yeah, energetic. That's for sure.
And Buttons is still available. He's over at our main shelter. So if you want to come meet Buttons, come do it this weekend before that construction happens. Okay. We have a lot of great dogs too.
All right, go to giveshelter.org for information, and let's get this Dusty home here. Chris has one final check of our humid forecast, hopefully getting better.
That's right. We're talking about the humidity that continues to be out there. Sunshine, though, is certainly the good news. We'll continue to see more of that. But as we go through the rest of the day, temperatures will fall through the 80s.